Trigger warning, Saints fans, this one might get ugly. Did you see the latest quotes from head coach Dennis Allen? Because if you did, might have fired you up. And if you didn't, we're going to break it down and tell you exactly what he said. Talked about some coaching changes, potential play calling changes, as well as just his thoughts on the season thus far. So before we get into that, guys, help me out. We are currently at 21,981 subscribers. I bet that we could get to 22K today. If you're not going to do it for me, do it for Rashid Shaheed. If you're not going to do it for him, do it for Tracy Porter, who got that pick 6 to seal the Super Bowl for you. Our end of season goal is 30,000 subscribers. It seems lofty, but I'm a lofty guy, and I like to shoot for the stars. So help us out. Subscribe today. Turn on your notifications. Saints news, rumors, watch parties, live shows, and a hell of a lot more. Lock us in. Subscribe today. All right, so the latest news around the New Orleans Saints. Let's set the scene here. So the Saints are currently 3-4. Heading into week 8. The offense, as we know, wildly underperforming. The offense just straight up sucks. It's bad. It's abysmal, and it's uglier than my ex-girlfriend. And quite honestly, the defense looks amazing. The defense looks really good. I mean, outside of a handful of blown plays, looks like a top 5 unit if you ask me. And my biggest discrepancy right now is Pete Carmichael. He is proving that he is incompetent as a play caller. And that's not just a theme this season. That is a theme that we had last year. So Pete Carmichael calling plays has gone horrendously bad for a year and a half at this point. Not good. And not to mention, the New Orleans Saints have the easiest schedule in the NFL. And look at the upcoming games here. Week 8 at Indianapolis. Honestly, at first, when they didn't have Anthony Richardson, I was like, hey, feels like it could be a win. I saw Gardner Minshew ball out against the number 1 defense in the Cleveland Browns this past week. Took him to the wire. Kind of concerned, I'm not going to lie. Chicago Bears, not a good team too. You should win that game. You are the better team. You should win that game. But somehow, some way, I could see Pete Carmichael just blowing this one. At the Minnesota Vikings, shout out producer Seeps. He's on the 1s and 2s today. That's always a fun game. Seeps and I were actually talking about this earlier. We were saying, this could be a playoff game. This could be a wild card game here. Like both teams, not a great record, but they're not out of it yet. And then you have the Week 11 bye, and then you take on a divisional opponent in the Atlanta Falcons. And the NFC South standings are currently this. You're at number 3. Unacceptable. I can't believe that you're sitting here with a losing record, 3rd in the NFC South, and Dennis Allen is saying, we're good. And believe it or not, we're halfway through the 2023 season. We're about halfway. We're approaching the halfway mark. After this week, teams only play, 16 games? You're halfway through the season. So you start running out of we have time to figure it out. We have time to get these things, the kinks worked out, if you will. No, you don't. You don't at all. Because this is when teams start separating themselves. This is when teams start making the playoff push. And if the New Orleans Saints can't make something happen here, they're going to miss the playoffs. And it's going to be absolutely disgusting. For the second season in a row, New Orleans will not be in the postseason. And that is not the Saints football that I grew up watching. That is not the Saints football that I like watching today. And that is not the Saints football that you and I all know and love. So outlook is not so good right now, but there is still time. I know that I said it's a halfway point, but there is still time to get into the postseason. So will the Saints make the playoffs? Just give me a simple yes or no in the comment section. This will be the pinned comment, so if you get hit with the YouTube ad break, take advantage, share your thoughts. So what did Dennis Allen have to say? And I really want to break down what he said. He had a couple quotes. He was asked about changing with the candidates, asked about, will there be outside personnel changes? Or are we going to bring someone in from outside? Going to break all that down here in just a second, but huge shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Our friends over at Prize Picks are the number 1 daily fantasy sports app. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. So what you do is you pick 2 or more players, go more or less based on a numerical projection, and then you'll win your money if you get it right. So for this week, I'm going with more Tua Tagovailoa's passing yards against the New England Patriots defense. They stink. So I think that Tyreek Hill, Tua, they're going to be able to get some yards this week. And I'm also going with the Moore for DJ Moore. You like what I'm doing there? I do too. I think that DJ Moore is going to have a really, really good day against the Chargers defense, who quite honestly I think is not that good as well. So I'm doing these projections. If you want to join in on the fun, if you want to win 25 times your money, go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Once again, use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. Link is available in the comment section and description of this video. All right, so let's get into what Dennis Allen had to say. When he was asked about the coaching changes, this is what he said. No, no, no. If we decide to make some changes, we'll let you know. We're really not even going to give Ronald Curry a shot here. We're not even going to try. We're not even going to give him an opportunity. We're going to look at what's gone on in the past year and a half and say, hey, it's good enough for me. Ronald Curry, sorry, we're going to fix it, and you're not going to be a part of it as the play caller. You'll be the quarterback coach, but not the play caller. Stupid. And as for an entire quote on personnel changes, when Allen was asked, are you going to bring somebody from the outside? You know, a John Gruden kind of guy is a name that a lot of people are a fan of. Dennis Allen said, you get in the middle of the season, and there's generally not a lot of people from outside your building that are coming in that are making significant changes. We've got our guys. We're going to be hard at work trying to fix our issues. Come on, man. Come on. Are you kidding me? Sure, that sounds like a good quote. That sounds good. Those words mean something. They don't mean much to me. Because at what point have we seen enough this season? At what point is enough enough? Like, I understand that it is hard to bring in a coach, especially a coach, mid-season, especially a play caller, say, hey, make it better. Like, that I understand. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's a bad move, but come on, man. When have we seen enough? And, like, look at these offensive issues. These were my 5 biggest issues that I have with the Saints offense right now, and I talked about them yesterday. But play calling, it's outdated. The NFL evolved. New Orleans did not. There's a lack of creativity. I'm not happy with what the play calling has been. There's poor decision-making, not just from the coaching, but from the players as well. Derek Carr holding the ball too long. Carr throwing the ball to, not open players, missing wide open routes. There's a lack of effort. It seems like the team is just not trying that hard. And there's just too much talent for this team to not be performing well. And when I say the lack of effort, this team is underperforming, like not trying, like I don't mean that they're just giving up. They're clearly still trying to go get wins, but it just seems like the energy and the charisma in the Saints locker room is down. So I want you to help me out. I don't care if you love Donald Trump. I don't care if you hate him. We all loved Celebrity Apprentice. So say it with me. If Dennis Allen won't do it, we will. Go ahead and type, "You fired," in the comment section. Because I'm so tired of Pete Carmichael. If the Saints front office, if Dennis Allen, Mickey Loomis, Gail Benson, if they're not going to fire him, how about we do it as Saints fans? You're fired, Pete Carmichael. Type it in the comment section. All right, so coming up, I do have some offensive coordinator candidates that I want to replace Pete Carmichael. And my very first one, I think you guys actually might agree with this one. So first one, my own mother. You see her sipping a margarita. You see her in all of her pink and white. She's beautiful. She's awesome. And I love my mama. But I can guarantee you this. She would be a much better offensive coordinator than Pete Carmichael. My mom knows ball. She's been around football since before I was born. And she's still to this day involved with football. And my brother and I aren't living at home. She just loves the game that much. So I think that my mom could be a better offensive coordinator than Pete Carmichael, quite frankly. But in terms of real replacements, let's get into it. Ben Johnson, he's my top choice. He's going to be a head coach, though. There's just no doubt in my mind. He will be a head coach. So if you want to go and replace Dennis Allen, I think Ben Johnson's your ideal replacement. That's my top choice, if you ask me. He's very smart, very innovative. Look at the Lions right now. Their offense is humming. He has Jared Goff looking like he's not Jared Goff. I mean, Ben Johnson's great. I would love to have him as the Saints head coach. I think he would be really smart. Or he not even, like, if he's not going to be the head coach, if you want to keep Allen, because he is a smart defensive mind, I think Ben Johnson has to be the offensive play caller. That has to be the thing. Like, that's my number one thing on the checklist this offseason. Go get Ben Johnson at all costs. But if you can't get Ben Johnson, what about a guy like Frank Smith? Now, he did work with John Gruden and Sean Payton to eventually work up to being the offensive coordinator for Mike McDaniels and the Miami Dolphins. He has a very good winning mindset. He's a smart offensive mind, and he can do a lot of good things. The Dolphins' offense is electric. They are so fun. They are so explosive. They score a lot of freaking points. The Saints don't do that. None of those three things apply to the New Orleans Saints. Maybe that could change with Frank Smith. But what about a familiar face in Joe Brady? Y'all know Joe Brady. Joe Shiesty. Joe Brr. Remember his season with the LSU Tigers when they won the Natty? Want to know who his offensive coordinator was? It was Joe Brady. And quite honestly, he's a great coach. He's a great coach. He's had head coach interviews already. He is currently Josh Allen's quarterback coach. Joe Brady could be really good, especially if you go and draft a young quarterback, or if you do want to stick around with Derek Carr. Whatever happens here, I think Joe Brady would be really smart in terms of developing and improving whoever the quarterback is for New Orleans. Another one, I actually like this idea, Davis Webb. He was a 2017 third-round pick, and he went directly from playing to coaching, and he is right in Sean Payton's pocket right now. And if you guys aren't really like jazzed about the idea of a young player to coach transition, what about Josh McCown and Kevin O'Connell? They were both players that rose very quickly in the coaching rankings. So I don't think that that's a bad idea either. I wouldn't hate going to get Davis Webb, and I think that he would be a really smart addition, and I think that he could be a young guy who can bring energy and creativity to an offense that lacks all of that. And another one that I want to bring up is John Gruden, the former head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I understand he does have obvious character concerns, but you can't argue. He is a winning coach, an overall record of 191, 161, and 1. And he's a great offensive coach. He could be a spark for the New Orleans Saints, and I think that he could be a very interesting addition. He already has familiarity with Derek Carr. He's already worked with the team in the offseason. It ain't working right now. I understand not a lot of y'all are fans of him, but what are y'all more fans of? Having coaches that are nice and losing, or having coaches that are a little bit of an asshole and getting wins? I'm just saying, I like to win. And for a head coach, if you're all like, nah, Dennis Allen sucks, let's move on from him, there's a lot of buzz around Jim Harbaugh. And with the situation going on in Michigan right now, it's weird. It feels like every year there's some sort of issue with Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines, or there's rumors of him coming back to the NFL. Could this finally be it? Michigan goes and wins the Natty. Could this finally be the year Harbaugh makes his return to the NFL? Maybe he does. I think the Saints should be a prime candidate for him. I think the New Orleans Saints should definitely call Jim Harbaugh if he is available and wants to come back to the NFL. The Vikings missed out on him, but they made a good decision with Kevin O'Connell. Don't miss out on him. If you get the opportunity, try to get him as hard as you, or as much as you can. So those are just a handful of replacements for not just Pete Carmichael, but also Dennis Allen. And guys, I want you to let me know. It's your turn. Who's your top Pete Carmichael replacement? And, you know, if you want to be above and beyond, if you want to go above and beyond, feel free to throw in a Dennis Allen replacement as well. But my top one, Ben Johnson. Get him in New Orleans right this second. And guys, if you need any more updates around the New Orleans Saints, or if you need any more coverage in between these daily videos, feel free to give me a follow on X, formerly known as Twitter, at TraceGirouard48. I've been putting out actually a lot of fire content. A bunch of my tweets are starting to blow up. I'm kind of getting into the jet stream, if you will. So if you want to be a part of the fun, be a part of the growth of my career and my personal brand, hit me a follow at TraceGirouard48. I promise you, you won't regret it. Y'all stay golden. Catch you next time.